What's up everyone, this is Tranquil Toys, doing a quick video here. It's going to be like a 2-in-1 kind of video. I'll be doing a quick comparison between all these figures that have come out from Black Series throughout the years. You can see kind of an evolution of the articulation from this Commander Cody that came out in 2016 all the way up to this brand new Commander Cody that came out, and I got it a few days ago. And comparing all of them to this knockoff, if you haven't seen the review yet, I did do a review on those. I'll be doing a quick look through the timeline of these figures. I'll be talking about where they improved and where they took a couple steps back, and talking about the current state of Black Series figures, particularly in regards to the Clone Troopers and Stormtroopers as well. We'll just start with the earliest figure here. So this figure was released almost 10 years ago. It's pretty obvious I did do some custom painting on it a very long time ago, and the figure, some of the white plastic has become discolored and the paint is also chipped. It was a really good figure when it came out. The shoulder articulation is awful. Cannot go, shoulders don't go up past there. Then we have this new knockoff, can go parallel with the body, and that's because shoulder armor is connected to torso armor, so you can get way more articulation out of the shoulders. Leg articulation, you can go vertical. It does kick out a little bit because of the shape of the armor, and it's the same thing with this figure and every figure that's come out since. That's why I recommended that they start doing a drop down hip, so that wouldn't be a problem anymore. We do have double jointed elbows, and I did cut out a little bit of the plastic here to allow for more range, because previously it wasn't a whole lot of range. In the knees as well, you don't really get that much range out of this, especially for it being a double jointed elbow and knee. Here you get way more. It's how it should be. And then especially with the torso articulation, you get pretty much nothing. But now with this knockoff figure going down with the torso or leaning back, and the belt is floating as well, so that does get out of the way. So it's just a lot more bending going forward. They got the double ball joints in the torso as well. About the same year in 2016, we had the Stormtrooper figure, a little bit deeper on the elbow and much better on the knees. Legs are considerably worse than the clones, and torso articulation is also still bad. So comparing both of them, again, you can see with the newer one, with the knockoff, you get a lot more range. Then we have the Clone Trooper Phase 2 Clone Trooper armor, and the shoulder armor still gets in the way, and everything else is pretty much the same. And again, I modded the elbow to get a little bit more range out of that. And here's the elbows unmodded, so you can see just how little range they gave us with double jointed elbows. So still not very good range despite it being double jointed elbows. Same thing with the knee and the torso, same story as before. The belt is really set in place. It doesn't move up and down. You can kind of rotate it on there, but it doesn't go up and down. It doesn't get out of the way when you're moving the torso forward, so you get pretty much no range there. Then Captain Rex came out. Pretty big redesign as far as the articulation is concerned. They added deeper cuts in the elbow, so you can get a lot better range. There was no improvement on the knees or the torso, so still very limited in terms of that. But they did fix the shoulder armor. Now the shoulder armor tucks into the body, so you can get fully horizontal movement there. It's not stuck to the torso, it is stuck, but still torso articulation very lacking. Then we have this one, so now we have shoulder armor tucks into the body. We got the same Captain Rex elbows, still no improvement in the knees. Torso articulation, still crap. Then we had the ARC Trooper mold, and they moved to single jointed elbows at this time, so you get that much range with the single, and with the new double jointed single jointed knees as well, you're just getting a 90-degree angle bend, whereas here you get full range with that double jointed knee. Torso slightly better. That's it going forward. Going back a little bit more than previous iterations, still not a whole lot. Knockoff still wins. Then here's a Stormtrooper. Now they started tabbing the shoulder armor into the body. They added a butterfly joint as well, which was pretty cool. Shoulder armor does not hinder the shoulder at all. Legs, still a problem. Torso, still a problem. They did add double ball joints to the neck, so the neck can move a little bit more forward and have a little bit more range there. Still single jointed knees and elbows. A little bit of a deeper bend on the elbow. Still very lacking in the torso area. And then we also just had this Commander Bakara. Shoulder armor again tabbed into the body so it can move independently of the shoulder swivel. Now we can get higher than horizontal on the shoulder. Single jointed elbows still a problem. Legs is not bad, but still could do a lot with drop down hips. Now the torso articulation is different because now we have, on this particular figure, the armor is not attached to the body and it is made of softer plastic, so it does flex a lot more, and it does get out of the way a little bit when you're moving the torso articulation down. Still not as much as a knockoff, a little bit of improvement from before, but having the body armor made out of a softer plastic will lead to discoloration in the future. That's just the nature of the materials that they're using for that. The camera might not pick it up, but in person you can definitely tell that the whites are like barely different than each other. But the softer body armor does make a tiny bit of a difference. And now we have the brand new Commander Cody. Here it is next to the old one. Helmet is definitely oversized, similar to the style of the Clone Wars animated series. This is more like the movies. Like I've said before, I prefer this look, how this looks compared to how this looks. This is kind of like a cross between the animated series and the movies, the prequels, and this is more like the prequels. And again, shoulder armor attached to the body, still single jointed elbows, single jointed knees. That's still a problem. No change in the legs. The armor is not glued into the body, so it does kind of float. So it gets out of the way a little bit, just as much as it does on the Commander Bakara. Still not as much as the knockoff. So this is about 10 years of engineering. In some ways they've gone back, in other ways they've gone forward. It's pinless, but you get less range. And even with the pinned knees, they're pretty much the same, but still knockoff is way better. Legs, not really any significant improvement there. Torso, tiny bit difference. Not a whole lot. And this is 10 years of progress. Not really a whole lot of progress. Of course, the shoulders are a huge improvement, but the elbows and knees, I mean, they had 10 years to pretty much perfect this. And they just came out with more figures from Star Wars, repaints, re-releases, repacks. They take 2 figures that they previously released, put them in a 2-pack, call it a day. Hopefully this knockoff catches on, and that causes them to rethink how they're designing their figures and what they're giving the fans. Hopefully they start improving their figures. Now Star Wars Black Series line could be cut. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It's everything I needed to say, so we'll see you in the next one.